People change with time, whether as a result of their own actions or their environment. And I am not exempt from this. I've been doing Gurren Lagann month for 5 years. And in those 5 years, and the time to come, there are and likely will be videos that I've made for this series that I no longer agree with because I've changed as a person. I make it a habit to revisit topics to either better emphasize or even restate my points. And to start this year's Gurren Lagann month, I want to talk about Nia. Years ago, I made a video called The Nia Problem. And though I do still abide by some of the things I brought up in that video, I fundamentally have come to view Nia's character very differently. And maybe by the end of this, you will too. So speaking of change, let's talk about Nia. Nia's always been kind of an anomaly in the cast. Her design is far more complex, differing from the simple color schemes and light outfits of her allies. The way she approaches problems and the world is far different from Team Daigurun and the Beastmen. Even the way she talks, enunciating words and compiling her sentences in a very roundabout way, is different. However, this does help her stand out. It allows her to guide Simon in the second half of his character arc in the Child arc. I've praised this as it helps her feel dynamic and essential to the story and characters, while also standing on her own. But what of Nia's character arc? Who is Nia? For the entire first years of her life, Nia lived under the shadow of her father, the Spiral King Lord Genome. Her birth was random, merely a way for Lord Genome to pass the time, to occupy himself. And once she no longer entertained him, she was discarded. Considering how sheltered she is, much of the world is new to Nia, including what other humans look like. But because of this sheltered, meaningless life, this left Nia without any kind of path forward. What are her goals? Who does she want to be? And again, who even is she? Gurren Lagann discusses a lot of identity, both self and world-imposed. Identity and title are crucial to Simon, Lord Genome, Kamina, the Anti-Spirals, and most of Team Daigurun. They identify and align with their titles. It is their goal and who they continue to be. Simon is Simon the Digger, the one who breaks through any wall in his path. Lord Genome is the Spiral King, the one who rules over spiral power and the Earth. Yet Nia is without one, at least not one of her own. But that's on purpose, because at this point, Nia isn't really her own character. When Nia steps out into the surface, she is a blank slate, a doll. At most, she is Lord Genome's daughter. His surviving generals treat her as such, changing tune as soon as they're told her life is worthless instead of basing their opinions on Nia herself. It's clear that her role was originally to be an obedient plaything. Adine and Guam retaliate once Nia shows any amount of defiance, often to a disproportionate degree. Even the members of Team Daigurun are wary of her at first, despite Nia never showing any signs of hostility. After all, she is the daughter of their enemy, as if it's her defining trait. She saves them and is met with interrogation, albeit a comedic one. All Nia does is react to everything around her. There are elements of individuality shining through, such as her morality and her personality. But Nia in the beginning isn't well defined as her own person, but rather her relationship to others. Meeting Team Daigurun, though, a group defined by individualism and identity, was the perfect outlet for her to grow. The unrefined and amorphous blob of belief, personality, and self that Nia steps out of her coffin with is challenged, molded, and shaped during her time with Team Daigurun. These interactions and new experiences push Nia to step into her own. And though she is influenced by Team Daigurun, taking more risks and believing in fighting for a future rather than abstaining violence, she never fully aligns with them. Even being in their midst for as long as she is, and siding with them in the war, there are parts of Team Daigurun's ideology that she never abides by. Team Daigurun's beliefs align heavily with Kamina's since the group was of his creation. They embody the manly spirit, to protect and serve humanity even at the cost of their lives, to be loud and boisterous to upset the unfair order, Kamina and Team Daigurun are pretty self-sacrificing, but Nia is almost a foil to this way of thinking. She approaches situations with more logic, often preferring diplomacy. She wishes to preserve life and does not believe in making a last stand, and she often helps others with words like Kamina, but is more gentle and feminine. And that is a key word. Team Daigurun is very masculine. Yes, even Yoko, she's 100% a tomboy. But Nia is a feminine influence. She maintains this side of herself, like a sister living with several brothers. Despite starting off as simply Lord Genome's daughter, who had little knowledge of the world, she grows into her own almost in spite of her surroundings, because that was her choice. I believe that Nia is the one who guided her own character arc. Now, that might sound like a no duh, but think of this. Rather than Simone being influenced by Kamina to pop out of his shell and become his own man, or Yoko learning from the hardships of war to make a difference in the future, Nia forges her own path regardless of the influence of those she is either working with or opposed to. Everyone else had an identity, a title, a belief they started with, but Nia didn't. So by the time the Beastman War has ended, she's evolved more into the person of her choosing, a woman who creates her own purpose, when originally born without one. Someone who values life and the world. Someone who pushes Simone and the others forward from below, but also takes their opinions to heart. The years go by, and we see that Nia seems to remain this same joyful woman, now as an adult. So what of her place in the adult arc? While, yes, some of my statements from my previous video I do still think are right, that she does not feel especially active in this arc. But that doesn't mean she has no purpose or doesn't grow as a character. Awakened as an anti-spiral creation, Nia's once meaningless life suddenly had meaning. She was forced into a path set out by the anti-spirals to destroy spiral life, to destroy Earth and everyone she loves. That obviously does not align with who she's become. Just like how her father fed her beliefs of the world outside, she was once again being forced into a path not of her own, though far more aggressively than the Spiral King ever tried. The kind girl with little understanding of social cues and a belief that life is something to cherish was being torn apart. The villain attempting to mold the pieces into a soulless being who sought only the preservation of the universe through any means necessary. While most of Team Daigurun face the physical battle, Nia faces the mental one. The one where the identity she's forged is being challenged. And though Simone is the one who saves her, Nia does make an effort to remain who she chooses to be, not who others tell her to be. So when the time comes to make a choice, she does. To believe in the human spirit and defy her own creation, because that's not who she set out to be. To die as herself, rather than remain as someone she doesn't want to be. I do wish we got to see a bit more of this struggle. It could have helped expand her character and the anti-spirals. But looking at her this way has given me more respect for her. I've spoken with people who have taken Nia's character and her arc to heart, who felt that her defiance of creation and destiny is very empowering. Identity is such a powerful concept for fiction to discuss, because we all have our own self-imposed and world-imposed identities. And especially in today's climate, with political, social, and gender identity being as hotly discussed as they are, it's more important than ever for our stories to delve into this topic. And considering how negative recent events have been, and how scared people are, positive stories that resonate and inspire us are necessary. That's why series like Gurren Lagann are so timeless. To see these characters with so much power and personality encounter the same issues of self-identity as we do, and then overcome those challenges, that's very inspiring. So while Nia's character arc has issues, the fact that it means this much to people and speaks to them is truly wonderful. And I can say that after rewatches with this new idea in my head, I think it's more powerful too. So, rest in power, dear princess. You will be missed.